Hey, it's Nate with Pulse PEMF, and today's interview is going to be a real treat. We have the privilege of hearing from Kayla Barnes today. Kayla is the owner of Live the Wellness Space, and one of the country's most innovative precision medicine and biology upgrading clinics. Kayla is also the creator and host of the Longevity Optimization podcast. Say that three times fast.
Mhm.
Longevity Optimization podcast. And she's co founder of the Health Optimization Fund, and she just launched the world's first female longevity membership. I want to hear more on that in a little bit.
Yeah.
Kayla has been featured in Fortune, Forbes, Business Insider, The Daily Post, MSN, Yahoo, The Telegraph, The Independent, The Daily Mail, The Guardian. We got to give you some props, Kayla, and because we need more people like you in those spaces. So thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to chat with me about one of my favorite subjects.
Absolutely. I mean, PMF is one of my favorite subjects as well.
I can tell you talk about it quite a bit on social media, and on your website. Actually, you give a brief synopsis of your journey into the health, wellness, biohacking space. But I would love for us to start with your why. Like, was there an event that triggered you to take your own longevity and health more seriously?
So, I was really fortunate to get interested and passionate about this early on. So, I started studying nutrition in college and I grew up on a standard American diet. I had brain fog. I really just wasn't performing optimally, even though I was 18 years old at the time. You would think 18, you should be like, just crushing it. But I knew I could feel a lot better. So it started with just small changes, things like changing the food I was eating, upgrading to, organic versus conventional, cutting out all processed foods. And then I got super interested in brain health, found Dr. Daniel Amen, trained under him. I'm very type A personality. So I thought to myself, if I can feel better with food, what else can I do to optimize my own biology, right? Like I said, I didn't come from a ton really growing up. I knew I wanted a really incredible life. And I knew in order to be able to get there, I was going to have to optimize both my brain and my body. And it really just began this incredible journey of human optimization, labs, biomarkers. I'm one of the most measured women, I think, on the planet, and really diving deep into the data. And I just found it to be so incredibly exciting that we could look at labs, we could make changes, and then we would see the labs improve. So it's been a long, long journey. It's been over 10 years, probably closer to 15, but it's been a really slow build. And then I really, got deep into the trenches when we started to prepare to open Live and got to have calls with incredible companies like PEMF brands and hyperbarics and IV therapies, and really got deep into the understanding and science of human optimization and just took it from there, really.
I love what you're contributing to the wellness and biohacking world right now. You're really making things practical, cutting through a lot of the noise because it's growing by leaps and bounds with many breakthrough discoveries. There's at times information overload, is what it feels like.
Yeah.
So you're kind of funneling a lot of the information into really streamlined statements on, especially on like Instagram and social media. But with all of those constant studies and modalities and supplements that are flying at us right now, how did you first get introduced to Pulse PEMF technology?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was definitely when I was doing research for the clinic, right? So the goal, the most effective therapies, modalities, services at the clinic. It's a place that we want to heal people, right? So as I started to, let's say, go down the rabbit holes of things that could really help human health in terms of recovery, performance, and health optimization, we learned that we're cellular beings, right? We are energy. I think of us like a battery, and our environments these days are really draining that battery with the toxins and the food and the sedentary lifestyles. So, if there's a therapy that can be done easily and feels enjoyable and can help to replenish that cellular energy, I think that's a huge part of what is at the root of overall health.
Yes, absolutely. I know since you're talking about it on a cellular level, you're a huge proponent of grounding, which
Yes.
is an easy and free practice. But
Hmm.
you clearly love your Pulse PMF XL Pro, which you call grounding on steroids. I
Yes.
love that. And you often mention the importance of the body's circadian rhythms. So, how do
Yeah.
you use your XL Pro to support your circadian rhythms?
I mean, I do so many things to support my circadian rhythm. I feel like as a, society we've gotten so disconnected, right? Our
Mhm.
ancestors, they had much better health, than we have. It's a debate whether or not how long they lived, but we know that they were in better health until the end, which is my goal too, is be in great health until the very end. And when I think about using PEMF technology for improving circadian health, I do mine in the front half of the day. So it's the first thing that I do in the morning. So I have an extensive routine. It's 30-minute long video on YouTube, takes me 2 hours in the morning. But the first thing that I do in the morning is I grab a glass of filtered water with a little bit of minerals and electrolytes, and I jump on my pulse. So the sun is not yet out. So I'm getting all of these incredible energizing benefits to my cells before I even get the sun in the eyes because it's not yet out. But then I, proceed to get sun in the eyes, go to my gym, and I try to use it as often as I can. Actually, I'm getting ready to move my pulse unit into my office to keep it on my chair because I think of it as cellular exercise, right? Like you should do it as often as you can. And I think it's really important. I've positioned it in places in my home that I can use it as often as possible. So I have it in these two chairs that I can just enjoy a conversation, a meeting. I mean, people come over my house and they get to do a pulse session. They love it. But yeah,
You're a
definitely
good
in the
friend.
yeah, I know. I'm a popular person here
You
in
would be.
LA in terms of going and hanging out at their house, right? Because I have all the things. I got a hyperbaric chamber, a pulse.
Yeah,
I have red lights everywhere. It's a whole thing in
I
this
love
house.
it.
But yeah, I love to do it in the morning, and also learning the settings and understanding what's most beneficial for, let's say, if I have a acute injury and I got a small like injury at the gym, I can use the paddles, I can use the accessories, and so I use it all the time for a variety of different reasons. My neighbor, her ankle, I had her come over, I put the pulse accessories on her on the ankle, and the next day she calls me and she's like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better, my ankle is like healed. I'm like, I love that. So
Come on. I saw a
yeah.
post you did this year where you stated, you are what you repeatedly do.
Oh
Upgrade
yes.
your habits, upgrade your life. And
Yeah.
there was a video around that time that you mentioned doing PMF a few times a day.
Yeah.
So other than the morning, what does that look like? And do you do mostly whole body pulsing, or do you just use like paddles or focus accessories when you need them? What does that look like for how you use PMF on yourself?
Yeah, so minimum, I'd have this part of my morning routine, right? And then usually when I have a meeting, I'll also be using it. So depending on how many meetings I have that day, I could be spending more or less time. My husband and I also like to use it in the evening as part of our wind down. So we'll do a super long walk. We are blessed to live in the hills, so we get that zone 2 cardio. The Aura Ring
Nice.
logs it as a hike. So after our dinner, we'll do our super long walk, and then we'll catch up on the day in the PEMF. It depends. I use a lot of different ways. I mostly use accessories if I do have some sort of acute injury, which is pretty rare, but I find people in my life like really benefit from it because people in my life tend to be getting injuries apparently more than I do. Must be all the mobility work I've done. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, I love to do it either seated in the chair, which is honestly the way that I use it the most. And then we've also had it on the bed, which I think is the most probably effective way to do it. Um, you could tell me actually, but I love the bed too. So in the clinic, we have PEMF on a bed, which is full body. Here I'm just doing the chair, but my rationale, at least in my brain, is like I'm doing it so often that it's probably okay to have it a little bit less exposure.
Well, and it is focusing on the core and the body, which is obviously the limbs. We want to get them pulsed as well, but you're getting the area where there's the major musculature, the organs, the brain stem. So I actually do the chair in the morning and the bed in the evening as well.
Yeah.
So it's good to know I'm on the same page. So years ago, you launched a brain health and brain optimization company for
Yeah.
high performing executives, which totally
Mhm.
makes sense in your field of work and your passion. And you even posted on Instagram about a study that proved PEMF therapy has been shown to reduce depressive symptoms and anxiety by influencing neurotransmitter activity and brain plasticity. So I have to ask, how are you recommending Pulse in your brain protocols and with your high performing clients? Like, are you using PMF regularly on them as well, or is this mostly something that you've been doing at home?
Yeah, so I really have transitioned time in my life, that company into Live. So we have what we call executive health programs. And within those executive health programs, we definitely encourage our executive clients to purchase a PEMF, a Pulse PEMF device, and then use it similar to how I'm using it, right? I recommend that they start their day off with sessions in the morning. They put it on their chair if they can throughout the day to have meetings in it. So it's really, again, the similar just to my protocols as often as possible. I mean, I think of it for all the benefits, you just listed, but also just we need to have this high cellular energy. I actually did a mead test about a month and a half ago, and it actually measures your cellular energy, like your voltage of your body.
Wow.
And a friend of mine who owns like an integrative oncology center, they see patterns of people, and I'm not saying that it's causative or there's a direct correlation, but it's just what they're finding is that people with lower cellular energy seem to be much sicker. So I think of it as like my charging time, and depending on what the executive or the athlete or whoever I'm consulting at the time, depending on what their load is, their stress load, their physical activity load, their mental activity load, and their mental stressors, those protocols can vary slightly, but the recommendation is always pretty similar. Do this as often as you can, because it's going to help increase that cellular energy that I believe is just being diminished at a much higher rate than we've ever seen before due to our toxic burdens.
Oh, hey, are you enjoying this video? Well, be sure to subscribe to our channel for the latest information on Pulse PEMF and tips on how to live the optimized life. Also, leave a comment below or a question. Our team reads and responds to each one. And be sure to take a couple seconds and click that like button. Really helps this channel get the good news to more people. Now, back to the video, and I'm going to get back to my pulsing session.
Since PEMF works on a cellular level, we're finding that Pulse is capable of enhancing the benefits of other modalities. So can
Mhm.
you share about how you stack Pulse with other therapies and how you implement Pulse PEMF into your own work for that longevity and wellness goals for clients?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we love to do PEMF and red light stacked together. So if we think about the benefits of red light, right, it's mitochondrial energy. We're helping to improve mitochondria. So if we can also increase the charge of the cells or the energy of the cells by combining these two therapies, then to me, that makes a lot of sense on a cellular level. I also love to do it in combination with hyperbaric. So I own a hyperbaric chamber at my house. I also have one at the clinic, and combining the hyperbaric oxygen with PEMF is also a really powerful stack. I love to use those. It's also really great if you do some sort of IV therapy, like we have
Mm.
IV therapy at the clinic. And if you're doing, a IV drip with a ton of minerals in there, and then you do a PEMF session to really, the way I think of it is driving the minerals really into the cells. We know that we're not getting enough minerals. Those are some of my favorite ways to stack therapies.
So do you use Pulse PEMF before or after or
After,
simultaneously?
usually after the drip, in that setting.
Okay, what about red light and hyperbaric?
Yeah, so we'll do red light first and then PEMF. And then when it comes to hyperbaric, I'm usually doing PEMF first and then hyperbaric oxygen.
Okay. Now, as we can get zero in specifically on Pulse, as we've seen in the wellness and biohacking world, not all supplements or technologies are created equal, and it's certainly true with the PMF industry as well. So I would love to know, why do you recommend and you personally use Pulse over other PMF providers?
Yeah, I mean, I think of Pulse as like the Rolls Royce of PMF. There are at home modalities that a lot of my friends have used, and then they come over and use my device, and they're like, "Whoa, this is not what's happening at home." They're like, "I think mine's broken at home." I'm like, "No, it's not it's not broken. It's just not the same game, right?" I mean, I think the science that you guys have, the effort you put into like R&D is incredible. I think that it's a really enjoyable and comfortable experience. It also looks nice. Like these are all like smaller things, but I love the ability to program a frequency based on, the outcome that you're looking for. If you're looking for more energy, you can have a specific frequency set. If you're looking for injury repair or an acute injury, I love the flexibility of the technology, so no matter what you're dealing with, if you just want cellular energy, if you want to work on an old injury, you have so many options with Pulse. I mean, and it's a powerful device, which I think is really important.
I think, yeah, that last statement, Pulse being a high intensity PEMF, when you've been on a low intensity mat and then you go to a high intensity device, you can feel the wellness. You can feel the
Yeah.
magnetic fields in a whole different way. And since you've devoted a lot of your life to practicing on yourself so that you can help others. So you've probably accumulated quite a few stories of how often you pulse on yourself, but then even just what you shared about bringing your neighbor over and then the next day she's texting you. So could you just share a few stories of some of the most inspiring results that you've seen after using Pulse PMF on yourself or others?
Yeah, I have a few good stories of people almost being amazed because I don't know, you tell me about the exact science behind this, but I feel like PEMF can kind of target areas of damaged tissue and like old injuries because so many times people will come in, they'll lay on the device and they'll be like, "Oh my goodness, I had, I tore my pec 5 years ago and I feel it right in the pec." So there have been, I mean, countless stories like that. I think one of the most interesting ones where I was really like, whoa, this is kind of crazy, was that someone came in with, they had a concussion within like the last week. And they were like cleared and everything by our medical providers to do it. We kept the PMF super low, but they could actually feel more of a concentration in that area, which I found to be just wild because out of all the times I put people on PEMF, no one's ever said that they actually felt it, in the brain. So that was super interesting to me as well because we know that it's going throughout the entire body, right? But you might feel it where you have more of an injury or inflammation. Is how I think of it. Is that accurate? Do you guys see that?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I was just having this conversation with somebody today about this, how it's almost as if Pulse PMF can function as it's not diagnosing anything, but it's almost diagnostic in nature because your body cries out where it needs the energy the most. Those are just the low voltage areas where they
Hmm.
feel that the most. And the body is so intelligent, it will draw attention to that. And
Yeah.
it's almost like that area is craving more energy, and so that's why you can feel it more pronounced in those areas. But it's obviously it's not diagnosing, curing, or healing anything. It's just providing the body with that raw material that it needs to let the body do what it was designed to do: self-regulate, self-heal, self-regenerate. So yeah, that's very interesting that you're bringing that up because I just had that conversation this morning with someone in the company.
Yeah, and these are all, like you said, this is not necessarily things that I've come across in the literature. I haven't really looked for these specific instances, but they are, I feel like, incredible stories and testimonials, and it just always is super exciting to me. The other thing that I find really interesting is that I can almost have an inclination as to someone's health status by going on PEMF because some of my friends that I know are dealing, with a chronic illness or something, as soon as they get on and I start to turn it up, they feel it, pretty intensely right away. Versus some of the more, someone like me where I can take it up a lot higher and not really have any issues. Not that they're having an issue, but I'm not feeling it as much. So do you guys see that as well?
There's yeah, it's almost as if you can build a tolerance for it. That the
Okay.
more energy that you can provide your body on a daily basis, it feels like I'm able to go month by month with certain accessories and positions. I can go higher and higher. Obviously, certain areas of the body respond to the magnetic field more strongly than other. I think the hip flexor is probably the most common area where it just lights people up because
Yeah.
we're sitting so much as a culture, and so that muscle becomes shortened and weak, and so that's a very low voltage area for a lot of people. But that is absolutely true that there's a tolerance level. So because you have been disciplined, you're experiencing that ability to take the field a lot higher because you built that tolerance level up.
I love that.
I do too. Now you've posted the scientifically proven, backed by science benefits of PEMF a number of times. Yeah, even on Instagram, I just saw that recently, which includes everything from pain reduction to improved sleep quality, enhanced cellular function, and energy. So, what would you say to the person who has tried many things? They may even be in the biohacking world right now, and they've tried so many supplements and therapies, modalities. What would you say to the one who's tried so many things to overcome their health challenges, but they haven't hit those breakthroughs, but they also haven't tried Pulse yet?
Yeah, I think that healing starts on a cellular level, right? So there's a lot of incredible therapies, tools, protocols that you can follow from, let's say, a supplement standpoint or, sauna, cold therapy. These are all great, but we also really need to think about this cell. I always think about PMF as like an individual cell. How can you make that individual cell as healthy and as happy and as optimal as possible? And then as a whole, we optimize our health, we feel better. So yeah, I think that it's really a ground floor protocol for people and therapy to be able to optimize your cellular health, and then everything else can work better, right? You can detox better, you can heal quicker. I think of it as really a foundational piece. And if you can't, if you can't, grounding is free and you can get some of the same benefits, not all of the same benefits, but yeah, I like to be able to point out that if you can't get a pulse or can't access one, there are still things that you can do.
Absolutely. You've been very helpful online, providing so much free information. And so I highly recommend our viewers follow you, especially on Instagram, to get those great reels and those just bite-sized pieces. I think that's what we all need right now because it does feel overwhelming at times. Even in this world where we're hearing conflicting things, some people say this is the best thing ever. And then other people are like, no, you need to remove this from your diet. And so you just get those bite-sized pieces to funnel that information. So I really appreciate that stream with all of the publications, talking about how you and your husband are planning to live to at least 150, which I love that. By the way,
Mhm.
I feel like out of all the generations, it feels right that this is the one where we start hearing these voices saying, why aim for 100? Let's aim for 150, 200. So you obviously have big dreams for the future, long dreams as well. So what exciting plans do you have for 2025 and beyond?
I mean, so many, I think that I've been in a for men by men industry for a long time, which I love, right? I mean, it's so incredibly beneficial that men have just paved the way in this biohacking longevity industry. But it's very clear that we need to have more female voices because women are not small men, and we do need our own protocols. We do need our own plans. We have to look at our own data. At the end of the day, every single human being is individual. So even if something works amazing for me, doesn't mean that it's always going to work for someone else. So I love to encourage people to get their own data, track what works, measure things, be disciplined. And so, yeah, in 2025, we're looking forward to expanding Live. We're going to be opening up soon new locations, which is very exciting. Have some incredible guests coming up on the podcast. I have my female longevity membership group where it's, a bunch of different videos, 40 different courses. It's just everything, all the questions that I get asked on Instagram, it's the answers to all those. It's a distillation of 15 years of me being in the industry, the clinical experience that I've received, and so much more. And then I do AMAs in there. And it's been super fun to just connect with women. And then we get to see women support each other too. So, women are posting in there, and then someone else is coming in to say that they dealt with that and this is what they did. And we need more of that, right? Like we know
Yes.
that community is such a huge pillar of longevity. We need to be interacting with people. We need to have a strong sense of community. And I'm excited to continue to lean into that in 2025.
Well, I love your humble spirit, Kayla. It's clear that you remain a student and you just keep learning at all that you can. I wish you the best in all those endeavors. I'm going to be cheering you on for sure. How can our viewers find out more about you and the Live Wellness Clinic?
Yeah. So my website is kaylabarnes.com. It's KAYLABARNES.com. And then live is LYV wellness.com. And my Instagram is Kayla Barnes, and then live is live wellness. So, we're in Ohio. We're going to be seeing patients in California. We offer a full suite of precision medicine, diagnostics, therapies, the whole 9 yards. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, you can check us out. And if you're interested in learning more about my longevity optimization journey, you can follow me online.
I love it. Well said. Thank you so much for your time, Kayla. You are such a blessing to this generation.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And don't forget to follow her and Pulse PEMF on social media. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, and you can also follow us on YouTube as we're going to be posting more interviews like this. Remember, you can empower your wellness, so keep on pulsing. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching this video by Pulse PEMF. For more information about us or to schedule a personalized demo with our technology, just click the link in the description below. Also, be sure to follow us on social media, especially YouTube, for inspiring stories, cutting-edge wellness tips, and exciting industry updates that will enhance your life.